Konnichiwa, Freedom Friday Yokoso. Watashi wa Dr. Nikiba Jackson. This. Anyway, don't pay attention to the background noise. I can't wait for you to come my way. I've been far away, but I'm just to find a way to you till then. So, hi, I'm Dr. Nikiba Jackson, and thank you for joining Freedom Friday. Freedom Fridays is a channel that I created that allows me to share with you my wellness journey and things that I'm releasing to allow me to free up my future. So whatever the little peasant said in the beginning, freedom to lay in bed. Yeah, we get the freedom to lay in bed, or whatever she said, resting. That's not what this Freedom Friday is about, though. However, this Freedom Friday is about... What are you saying? Okay, girl, whatever. Anyway, this Freedom Friday is about the freedom to do it and be ashamed. So it's not how it sounds, but it is the way it is, right? And so what I mean about this came from a conversation that I was having with someone recently, and we were talking about some of the reasons why we don't do some of the things that we want to do, and you know how sometimes you allow yourself to be paralyzed from doing things that you want to do. And underneath one of the things that we talked about, it was like being ashamed. And we were just talking about like, hey, I don't want to ask for this because I'm ashamed that this happened, or whatever the case is. And just going into it a little deeper, one of the things that came up was, why are you ashamed? And it's like, because I should be doing this, I could be doing this, and I'm not, and I let things get this way, blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking about it, and there's a thing about myself that on many occasions that I work towards, improving. One of the things is sometimes some places where I go, I don't always get there in the right time, and that's very annoying to myself and to other people. And many times when I show up and I'm not on time, I'm really embarrassed. And the thing is, I had a conversation with one of my friends years ago, and she was like, you embarrassed when you go? And I'm like, I really am. And she was like, I can't tell. And I was like, trust me, I am. She was like, well, you couldn't tell it by looking at you. And I'm like, nope. I said, there's so many things that's going on inside of my head. I said, but I'm like, hey, I'm here now. Not saying that it doesn't matter that I'm there. It means that there's certain things that I'm doing that's not aligning with what I want to do. And because they're not aligning, and it doesn't work out the way I initially planned it, and it doesn't look that way, it's more so me knowing that I can do better. And in that instance, I'm not. And, in times when you can do better, and for whatever reason you're not, you might end up getting in a situation where when it didn't work out that particular way, you might have second-guessed yourself on so many occasions, because my experience is I second-guess myself on many occasions. And when you end up second-guessing yourself and things don't, it's almost like you said you're going to do something and then you end up not doing it. And because you didn't do it, things worked out a certain way. And now you have that feeling of dread on the inside. And for me, it comes out as embarrassment. What do you do when you feel embarrassed? Like, do you just stop doing it altogether and you say, I'm too embarrassed to go forward with it? Or do you push forward? So for me, there are times when I've let embarrassment stop me from doing things. And there's times when I've had the embarrassment and I did it anyway. Because the thing is, on the other side of that embarrassment is the fact that you're still there, you still get to get it done. And some of the things that I thought about is stem from when I was younger. And even now, sometimes it feels, sometimes opening up, once you put it out there, it's like you can't you can't take it back, right? And then it's like in your mind, you're feeling like you're being judged. And the thing about it is, we're always being judged. We're judged by other people, but the harshest critic and judge that we have in many cases is our own selves. So for me, growing up, there were certain things that I always used to have issues with. One of them was I used to get fussed at. I used to get my behind beat for not cleaning up my room. Like, it was just a thing. And then there were things where I was like, well, I'll stuff this all here, and I'll have the room looking nice and neat. And I knew there were times that I would have to go back to, to get the stuff that I stuffed in the little crevices. And when I stuffed those things in crevices, I stuffed them in there because I didn't know what to do with it on different levels. And when I didn't know what to do with it, I just stuffed it away so it wasn't crowding my space where I could see it. And so then there were times where I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to get this together, because what would happen is I would lose I would be missing things because I wasn't organized, or I didn't know how to organize, and just stuff. And so then when it would be time for me, or when I felt like it was time for me to get to it, it seemed like without fail, my dad used to come in there, and it's like he had this radar, and he was like, "Oh my peace, oh my God," and he would, you know, I might get my behind beat because he was like, "Why am I taking the time? Why my room look like that or whatever?" And it's like, "But I'm cleaning it up." And it's like a lot of times things look messy before you get it together. And what I learned from myself, even having this conversation, was like, dang. So I felt afraid in many cases to hide it, because I felt like it was going to be found out anyway. So um, when the stuff that I was quote unquote hiding came out to light, and I was trying to do something with it, it was at that moment when all of a sudden it was the highlight of it. And it's like, should I have done something with it before? Yeah. However, based on what was more important to me, it wasn't that important. And so because it wasn't that important, and when it finally got important to me, someone else saw it. And then that was the thing that it's like, out of all the things that I was doing right, this is the one thing that's going to be pointed out. And so I was embarrassed. And so it spilled into my adulthood in many cases. And so one of the things that the conversation I was saying was like, just because you're embarrassed, it doesn't mean you don't need help. It doesn't mean you should stop doing what you're doing, because whatever it is that you're embarrassed about, it doesn't go away. One of the things that I'll share with you, like with my weight loss journey specifically, while I've been working on my wellness, one of the biggest things that I want to do is do something that's sustainable. And I've shared with you guys that I've had the lap band surgery a few years ago. And then before I moved, I ended up getting it removed due to, moving to a foreign country. And there were complications that I didn't know existed. And, when I first got that surgery, I was doing everything that I felt like I needed to do. And the weight was coming off, right? And eventually something changed in my life, and then I did things differently, and I didn't allow myself to see it through, right? Fast forward to not being able to work out some of the ways that I wanted to, ways that I used to be able to do it, I couldn't do it. And then even to the point of the way that I was eating changed way back when, and then it was like, it got so bad for me to, at some point in my mind, I felt like that was who I was. And then I was not happy with the person that I saw in the mirror. But then it was like, I wasn't really addressing the fact of how I really felt. I just showed up anyway. And so, one day a few years ago, that changed for me. Not the fact that it changed that I wanted. It's changed for me. I changed. Something in me changed to allow myself to go and do something different. And, that's when I got with my coach, Tiffany Roth, and she gave me, the gift of doing a 10 pounds down challenge. And that put some of the fuel inside of me to decide to change. And then she came up, she had the Mindset Makeover Academy, which was something that she said, was going to be intensive, and that it was. And so while I was in that program, the level of accountability that I had, taught me many things about myself that I was not initially willing to go through. And so it didn't come without levels of embarrassment, for myself. But the point of it is the embarrassment is the thing that's internal to you. You can be embarrassed, but being embarrassed doesn't change the actual outcome that you're looking for, right? Um, that's like if so for me, just continuing the story with the weight situation, got in her program, and it was things that I was doing, and I would be mad. Like if I wasn't eating things the way I said I was going to eat it, I would be mad. And then sometimes I could get away with not eating that way totally, and the weight would come off. And then sometimes it would show up. Embarrassment, it was like, as long as I wouldn't get caught, it was all right. Caught meaning the scale didn't tell on me, I'd be all right. And then all of a sudden, it's like, here I am. The scale and finally caught up. The truth and caught up. So what I'll say is, so with that, going through that, losing weight and then gaining some weight again based off changing different things in my life, and knowing that some of the things I changed was different from what I learned. But even through the process of that, there were things about myself that I learned, and just start accepting a little bit more, and knowing that everything that we do is a choice. So embarrassment is a feeling, right? So because you're embarrassed, what does that mean? Does that mean, oh, I'm embarrassed that I gained weight, then I'm going to stop trying to lose weight? Oh, I'm embarrassed that my house isn't straightened up, so that means I'm not going to straighten up anything? Or I'm not going to ask anybody for help because someone said I should do it by myself? My thing is, so what someone else says? What do you say? That embarrassment, I really believe it comes from things that's external to us, because we're so used to doing things a certain way. And then in many cases, we end up being judged. And that judgment from what we gathered when we were young seeped in so long till it became a part of your internal dialogue. So what I'll tell you is, so what? You get embarrassed. We all get embarrassed. I was walking down the steps at my college years ago and fell straight on my butt on the steps. Did I stay down? Heck no. Only one person saw me because of the time of the day it was. And they looked around. There was nobody else with them to laugh. If I would have stayed down, guess what? Other people might have came and saw me. That person might have looked and been able to say, hey, she fell on her butt. But so what? Embarrassment is not an excuse or a reason to stay where you are. It's just one of those things where you get to look deeper inside the lens of who you are and move past it. Feel free to be embarrassed. So what if you get embarrassed? You get over it, and if you don't get over it, you get through it. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Yeah, I'm a little lazy. Some person might say you should be embarrassed. No, I shouldn't be. I'm just who I am, and I'm just going to come to you as authentically as I know how. So if you watched this far and you like what I had to say, please click the like button. And if you want to share a story with me, share and comment below. Thank you for watching, and you have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.